What you're about to see is not just random footage. It's a collection of documented cases captured by real cameras in places you'd never expect. For years, researchers, security guards, and even families inside their own homes have claimed to experience things that simply can't be explained. Sometimes it starts with small details, like a flicker in the corner of the frame, or an object moving just slightly when nobody is around. But other times, the activity escalates into something terrifying, something you can't just ignore or rationalize. Subscribe if you don't want this to happen to you. In 2019, the surveillance system in a small grocery store stayed recording after closing time. The owner reviewed the footage the next morning because alarms kept going off at 3:12 a.m. What he saw wasn't just shadows or glitches. It was a figure standing completely still in the middle of the aisle, a figure that wasn't there seconds before. Police checked the store and found the locks untouched, no signs of break-in, nothing missing. But the footage showed it standing there for 6 minutes before fading out like static on an old TV screen. And it's not the only time something like this has happened. A group of students in Ohio were filming a project late at night inside their school auditorium when one of the cameras, left running by accident, picked up a voice whispering a name. The shocking part? That name matched a student who had passed away in the same building a decade earlier. The school board tried to keep it quiet, but the clip started circulating among locals until finally someone leaked it online. Stories like these are spreading faster than ever, and whether you believe in the paranormal or not, the evidence keeps stacking up. Some people call it coincidence, others call it proof, but one thing is certain. Once you see these clips, you can't unsee them. One of the most unsettling examples comes from a firefighter's helmet cam during a house inspection after a blaze in Pennsylvania. The footage shows the burned-out remains of a living room, smoke still lingering in the air. Everything looks quiet, until a child's laugh cuts through the silence, even though the official reports confirm nobody under the age of 16 lived in that house. Investigators reviewed the audio again and again, but no explanation was ever found. It wasn't radio interference. It wasn't background noise. It was something else. Another case happened in Mexico City, inside a metro station where thousands of people walk every single day. Security footage showed a young woman in a red jacket waiting on the platform. But here's where it gets strange. Passengers standing right beside her swore she wasn't there. Witnesses said they never saw anyone with that description. On the tape, she appears perfectly clear, standing just feet away, until the train passes. When the cars move on, she's gone. No record of her entering. No record of her leaving. And then there's a hotel in Nevada, where staff complained for months about guests hearing footsteps in hallways that were completely empty. Management finally installed extra cameras, convinced it was someone sneaking in. But what the cameras captured was worse. At 2:47 a.m., you can clearly hear heavy footsteps, loud enough to echo, yet the hallways remain empty on all angles of surveillance. Guests began checking out early, some even refusing to stay past midnight once word started to spread. Each clip you'll see raises the same question. Are we looking at glitches, coincidences, or undeniable proof of something we don't understand? Because the patterns are too specific, the details too chilling, to simply brush off as random. But what really makes these cases impossible to ignore is how consistent some of the patterns are. Take, for example, incidents in residential neighborhoods. In 2021, in a quiet suburb of Oregon, multiple families reported seeing the same shadowy figure moving silently in their backyards late at night. Cameras caught it walking along fences, stopping at windows, and staring inside before vanishing entirely. Homeowners insisted they had never met each other, yet every account described the figure the same way, tall, dark, and completely silent, with movements that almost didn't seem human. Then there are incidents caught in workplaces, where logic and surveillance usually rule everything. A warehouse in Detroit installed high-definition cameras after a series of break-ins, but the recordings revealed something different. Boxes moved on their own, forklifts started rolling without anyone near them, and in one clip, a figure appeared inside the building, just standing there, observing the cameras themselves. Security tried to recreate the scenario, but every attempt failed. The boxes never moved, the forklifts never started, and the figure never reappeared. Even places considered safe, like schools and hospitals, aren't immune. In a hospital in New York, nurses reported hearing voices calling patient names at night. When the security footage was reviewed, the cameras picked up objects shifting slightly, lights flickering, and what appeared to be a mist moving across the hallways. Staff tried to explain it with drafts or faulty wiring, but multiple independent cameras captured the same event simultaneously from different angles, with no electrical source to blame. And it's not just the living who are involved. In a remote cabin in the Rockies, a couple reviewing their holiday videos found something chilling. At first, it seemed like just a trick of light, but when they slowed the footage down, a figure could be seen standing outside their window at sunset, completely still, watching them for almost 10 seconds before vanishing into the woods. They lived there for over a week, and every night, their cameras picked up fleeting glimpses of the same figure, always in the same spot, always watching, never moving closer. The more you see, the harder it becomes to deny that there's something here, something we don't fully understand. These aren't isolated incidents, and they're not coincidences. Something is triggering these events, and it seems to prefer cameras, maybe because we capture evidence more than we notice with our own eyes. And the strangest part is how ordinary these locations seem before anything happens. A small convenience store in Texas looked like any other on security footage, until a clerk reviewing the tapes noticed the shadow moving independently of anyone in the frame. At first, it seemed like a glitch, until it interacted with the environment. A soda can roll off the counter on its own, then the shadow paused, almost as if it were watching the camera. By the time the store owner checked in person, the can had moved back to its original spot, as if nothing had happened. In California, a homeowner set up a camera after hearing noises in the attic. One night, the footage showed the ceiling hatch slowly opening, and a pair of glowing eyes appearing in the darkness. The homeowner swears the attic was completely empty when they went up the next morning, and yet the video proves otherwise. Neighbors even reported seeing figures in the yard at night, but by the time anyone tried to investigate, nothing remained. Even outdoor locations are not safe. Hikers in Colorado left a GoPro recording on a trail while they set up camp. When they reviewed the footage the next day, a mist-like figure seemed to glide between trees. It followed them for minutes, appearing closer with every frame, and then simply vanished when the sun began to rise. They tried to convince themselves it was fog or a trick of light, but the footage shows shadows cast by an actual form, and the trees bending as if something solid passed through them. Some cases even involve technology behaving in ways we can't explain. A hotel in New Orleans had an electronic door system that started unlocking and locking randomly. Security cameras revealed a dark silhouette moving along the corridor, pausing at each room and pressing the buttons seemingly with invisible hands. Guests reported hearing whispers in empty rooms, and staff confirmed that all doors were supposed to be locked during the night. What ties all these events together is the undeniable sense that something is aware it's being recorded. The footage isn't just strange, it's intentional in a way we don't fully understand. Lights flicker directly in the frame, shadows align with the camera's movement, and sometimes faces appear for just a fraction of a second, long enough for the human eye to notice, but too quick to be explained. As you watch the clips coming up, pay attention to the small details. The flickers, the shadows, the figures that appear and disappear without a trace. Because these aren't stage videos. These are real incidents captured by real cameras, and every single one of them tells the same story. Sometimes, the paranormal isn't just a rumor. Sometimes, it's closer than you think.